Hi, guys. I hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about music, today's music, modern music in 2024, and whether or not it is making us stupid. Is it dumbing us down? Or even worse, is it demonic? This is something that has just been I've been seeing it a lot on social media. TikTok talks about it a lot. I've heard some podcasters talk about it, and I've just been thinking about it a lot over the last few months, paying attention to different types of music, and I just wanted to bring it up and discuss it with you guys. Um, to start, for example, Candace Owens often talks about how, like, the rap and hip hop music of today, she thinks is purposefully stupid and that it's trying to keep us stupid. And she compares it to like Black American music, like Aretha Franklin, how she was incredible and how that music was, made you feel one way. And now we have music that has, like, I think, uh, she uses a few different examples, but like "You're Only a Fart," whatever that song is. She's just saying like this is not the best of the best. This is not where we should be from a hip hop and rap, standpoint, or Black American standpoint. We can do so much better than this. It's so bad that she thinks it's purposely put there to keep people kind of dumb. So that's her theory. I've also, as I've been diving more and more into Christianity, I see a lot of, posts come up with like pastors and a lot of them mentioning how music is meant to make you feel a certain way. And if music makes you feel lustful, like you want to go out and make some bad decisions or cheat on a partner or go party your face off and wake up completely hungover or go hurt somebody, or kind of fills you with rage, like if the music makes you do that, then it's not good music. And they talk a lot about like modern music. And then even further, and this is something I have not dived into yet, I can't really speak to this, but I also see a lot of pastors talk about this, but a lot of just TikTok content creators, make have and YouTubers have mentioned that there seems to be like a demonic undertone in a lot of popular music, and even with, you know them dressing up as devils, and there's like a lot of devil stuff happening today. And when it first started happening with Sam Smith and Little Nas, and you're just kind of like, that's weird. And by the way, at the time when this first started happening, I hadn't really even like dived back into Christianity, yet. But I even thought, I was like, that's weird. It is weird. But I'm like, this could just be one off. And then now you just see it like over and over and over again, this kind of like devil references in all of this music. And you're like, I mean, what is really going on here? And so one of these pastors I saw mentioned that Lucifer actually likes to work through music. And he was kind of starting to tell the story about the archangels, which I want to learn more about. And he was just saying that Lucifer liked music and that he still works through music today. So, with all of that said, I was born in Chicago. I lived in Northwest Indiana for my childhood and high school years. And to give you an idea, that's basically on the border of Chicago. It's like in between Chicago, the south side of Chicago, and where you're coming up to almost rural Indiana. It's also right next to Gary, Indiana. So you have this combination of what I experience is, I'm also 38 years old. So I grew up on hip hop and rap music because I went to a very mixed school. And also hip hop and rap was very big in the late 90s and early 2000s. So tons of that. But also because I was in Indiana, we also had a lot of like country music influence. So it was like pop music, country music, a lot of hip hop and R&B, because it was just like it was so good back then when it was first coming out. And then in my 20s, all of my 20s, I grew up in Las Vegas, which was like perfect time for the EDM, electric dance music just took off. I was like partying in clubs. I saw all the people all the time. Calvin Harris, Cascade, Avicii, Tiesto, like that was just my world. And I feel like I have EDM going through my veins. And then lastly, I'm just an old soul. So I've always loved old music. I've always loved the oldies. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Elvis. I've always been obsessed with Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and that kind of stuff. So I guess what I'm saying is I like all different types of music. And depending on my mood or what I'm doing, I will listen to different types of music. And since people have been saying that the music, we need to be careful about the music that we're listening to these days because it might not be good for us in some capacity. I've just been paying attention because I'm also a mom, and I drive around with my kids in the car a lot, and or in the house when we're, doing stuff, and you just got to be mindful of it. My husband and I will often say, we'll like the sound of some song, and some songs you can't even really understand what they're saying, but it just has a good beat. And that's kind of scary in itself too, because if you listen to words, you're like, oh, is she talking about killing herself in this like upbeat EDM song, or is she talking about, like, I don't know, sleeping with a bunch of guys, like, but it doesn't sound like that. You have to really listen, and the English language, sometimes words don't really, you can't really tell what's going on. um so it's just interesting to be ultra aware as we're being told that maybe the music's not good for us, and then on top of it, we're raising little kids. So I've just been paying a lot of attention in general. And when I listen to, for instance, like jazz, like autumn jazz, I like to listen to that in the fall in the background at the house. It just like makes you feel good. When I listen to like Rat Pack music, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and that kind of stuff, it's pretty lighthearted and fun and sometimes silly and goofy. And again, it doesn't ever make you feel like you want to make a bad decision. It doesn't make you feel lustful. It doesn't make you feel any of those things. Um, but I will say, like the EDM music, which I said is probably my favorite genre, if I'm being honest. Also, it's great to work out to, and I love to work out. That music is questionable. That's one music I'm questioning a little bit, even though I love it. Like I said, I'm like a big fan, um, because some of it makes you want to go out and party. Some of it, like, I like to work out. And what's funny, and if you don't think music influences us heavily, for me, the working out thing is a perfect example because no joke, without music, I could maybe run a couple miles. With music, I can run like 6 miles easy. Like, music will almost double my performance from a fitness perspective. So if I am on the Stairmaster, I mean, I could probably do 20 minutes, no music or average music. If you put on some like rage, EDM, crazy stuff for me, I could go for a full hour. And I was thinking about even that because I'm 38 years old. I've always thought that was amazing that music could kind of be this drug that pumps you up to work out and feel great. But then I was like, I wonder if that's not even good, working out that hard, because I constantly overdo things. And so I'm like, it's almost like a drug, in a sense. So what I'm saying is that music is just really impactful. It does sway your mood. As we know, you have some emo music, you can start crying or think of a memory or whatever. So I guess it is powerful. So this brings me to country music. I have loved country music for a really long time. I go in and out phases of listening to it, but I've basically been listening to country music from 90s country music, the early 2000s, 2010s to even now. So the thing about country music that it just kind of dawned on me now that I've been analyzing music on how it makes you feel, the message that it's saying, and all of this stuff, is that it just delivers really good messages. I think the biggest thing that you find in country music, I've just been listening to every single song, whether it's about love, whether it's about a lot about love, a lot about having fun, a lot about maybe drinking, a lot about family, church, God, whatever the country song is about. Almost all of them reference that living small and simple is better. Like, in comparison to the big city, it's all about like creeks and dirt roads and small bars and sit in the back of a pickup truck, a beautiful girl with no makeup on, a simple sundress. It's not talking about like anything else. It like every premise, whatever they're talking about in the song, it's always about kind of keeping it simple. And you might be like, well, yeah, that's country music, and I agree, but they kind of make it a point, like dirt road, single dirt road, like it's constantly. And there's a lot of songs that just say how it's important to not get caught up in the big city life and to live in that small. And I'm just like, all of us can just relate to that now, keeping it simple, keeping it with people you love. The women don't need a lot of makeup. They look beautiful naturally, like barefoot. You'll hear that in song, barefoot, simple, uh, white t-shirt and a jean skirt. Like it's all about simplicity. And I just really love that. I really love that. I think it's such a good message. They talk a lot about family, a lot about love, a lot about church, God, and alcohol. There is a lot of drinking, talking about the songs, but again, this is also presented in almost the way that if we are drinking, we should be. It's like with close friends, with family, or at the state fair, you'll get that kind of vibe, or at a local place with, as you're falling in love. It is done in a very, just again, simple way that makes it charming. It's not really this like getting effed up in the club type of vibe. It's much more soft and playful, and so I just really like it. And then when I listen to it, or I like it more now. I've always liked country music and I've gone in and out, but I just, now that I listen to the messages, they're just really nice messages. And we have kids that we have to think about, and we have ourselves that we have to think about. So country music to me right now is a win. I would love to hear your thoughts about what other genres of music you really feel like do this. Again, me and my kids really love like the Rat Pack stuff. I think it's a little more shallow music. It's a little more like fun music than the country music, but also nice. And the other thing I just have to say is that my daughter, she just turned 6 years old, and we've listened to a bunch of different music in the car. She's been able to immediately find that Elvis and Michael Jackson are great singers. Like, she has pointed out, like, who is this? I'm like, Michael Jackson. She's like, he's so good. So we've been listening to Michael Jackson in the car, and Michael Jackson music isn't that old, right? But you listen to the depth of the music, his voice, what he does. Like, I mean, it's just so complex and awesome, some of his old music. And then you listen to the songs today that almost seem like they're just whipped out. Like, if this is another like capitalism thing, like get another hit out. It's just so average that they're just like, get it out, get it out, get it out. There's no, or my husband also mentioned like the Queen, like the Queen, Frankie Mercury would do things in songs that were just incredible. And we were just kind of like, what happened to that? Like what happened to that level of artisticness? It's like, oh, you just need to pump out the music now. It's no longer masterpieces. It's, the same way I feel about like Netflix documentaries or Netflix shows. Sometimes the movies are so bad because it's like they're just trying to put out a movie so you can watch it. It has nothing there. So I guess the whole point of this is maybe to just point out that there is some interesting stuff to consider with music. And for you, when you're out there listening to music, to just be more, for all of us to be more wise and aware of our choices. That's it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys. Have a great day. And don't forget to subscribe.